Hello friends, can we do a little volume check? Can you just let me know if you can hear my voice and how it is with the music? I'll wait for the music to start up again. Okay, I'm talking now at probably the volume I'll be talking when we're ready. Just let me know if it's good or if one needs to go up or down. I can't actually hear it, so I don't know. I'm expecting that the compression on my voice might be a little much. Okay, you can hear me fine? Okay, good. Okay. And you can hear the music too, it's just not overpowering me, right? Voice could go up a touch. Okay, let's see. How's that? Is that better? I'm hoping that that's a little better. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in now. I always forget how to use all of my technology when I know I'm being perceived. Okay. Perfect. Okay, cool. Thank you, thank you. All right, here we go. Boom! Here I am. Okay, so hello. Hopefully everything is looking and sounding okay. My setup is over here, but my camera's over there, so it's going to be I'm going to be doing a lot of this. I will be remembering to read the chat. So I'm going to first say hello to, let's see, who's here so far? We've got Scruffington, hello. Mall DVD, hello, that's a great name. Colorhead Music, another good name, hello. Moxie Mog, hello. Let's see, Melody, hello. Kieran7855, Medi Hex, hello, hello. Okay, no, not next train, it's just exercise. This is keeping me limber. So yeah, this is the Q&A. Thank you all so much for 20,000 subscribers. I honestly never thought I'd see the day. Hopefully I will be saying this sentence again about a much higher number in the future. So I figure what I'll start with is I'll just tackle some of the frequently asked questions that I get. I'll just go through those real quick. And then I will answer direct questions within reason. Don't ask me what color my socks are, because that's weird. I'm not telling you what color my socks are. They're black with SpongeBob. Okay, so here we go. Question number one. Sorry, my frequently asked questions are on the same screen as the chat, so I went to look at the questions and I saw the chat. So yeah, hello to Chaotic Sketch. G'day. Are you Australian or are you just saying that? That's okay. You're not the one on trial here, it's me. Okay, frequently asked question number one. When is Guy Engine coming to Linux? Honestly, this is the question that I get the most, and the honest to God answer is that I just don't know yet. It's a little bit challenging for me, this kind of stuff, so I'm just not ready to give a real ETA on that yet. But I promise it is on my list of things that must be done for Guy Engine. Okay, there's that. Number two. This one's kind of vague, but when are you going to do a video about XYZ composer or synth? And the answer to that question, which I'm sure there will be many of those questions, is that I don't know. I mean, there are so many composers and there's so many great games and so many synths that were used on those games and other hardwares and softwares and stuff. I mean, I couldn't say. I don't even know what's coming next half the time. Okay. Question number three. Where is the Melee sound font? It's done. I'm just working on a way to release it that doesn't upset Nintendo. Of course, the content within it doesn't infringe on any copyright or anything. but there are some concerns about what I'm going to name it, because the name Melee caught some attention last time. I didn't get into any trouble or anything, but it was a little shaky. So I think I'm going to try to come up with a name that tells people what it is without, using any words from... I mean, maybe I couldn't use the word smash. I don't know. This isn't the moment to figure it out, but it's done. It just needs a name. Let's see who else is here. Izzy's here. What's up, Izzy? Welcome to the party. Thank you for coming. The Nintendo Ninja's gonna find, yeah. The music is wicked loud? Okay, alright. Coming down. Is that better? Sorry. Music's going down. Alright, it should really just be in the background. Alright, music has gone down. Oh no, my questions. Where are they? Here we go. Frequently asked question number 4. What synth was used in such and such game? If I know, I'll tell you. If I don't know, I will go and check, and then I'll tell you. If I can't tell from listening to it, I will check the community spreadsheet. If it's not in the community spreadsheet, then you've just issued me a challenge, and I'm going to have to figure it out before I can get to sleep tonight. So that's the answer to that question. And my last frequently asked question is... How... There has been no change to music volume? Oh, okay. Is it good? Identical? Oh, geez. Sorry, there's a lot of latency, so I don't see what you guys are saying until like a month later. Crisis averted. Okay, alright. I'm just gonna trust that it's okay. Actually, hold on, wait. Yeah, the levels are still looking a little loud. I'm gonna bring it down even further. How's that? That looks like it's lower. Music volume has not changed. Alright, that's it. Interesting, I'm looking at... Oh, that's why. Sorry, I had the sources doubled. That's why. Okay. That should be better. How are we doing now? Testing. Yeah, I think it's just because I had two sources on at once. Okay, good. Here we go. All right, hopefully the questions... Were the questions audible, guys? The questions and the answers, or was the music too overpowering? Should I start again? Or is that going to be too tedious? In the meantime, I will now tell you the final frequently asked question that I have written here, which is, how do you get your samples to play on real hardware? The short answer is it depends on the hardware, but it's mostly through like ROM hacking and homebrew stuff. Pretty much anybody can do it. No, wait, actually, no. Only I can do it. I am the hoarder of knowledge about the... Nah, I mean, anybody can do it. The real trick is just making sure that you have, you have the enormous amount of time that it takes to do it, and the resources. The resources are tough because, like, the sources for samples, like, recording real instruments, and because you can't just use stuff that you find on the internet because you don't know. And you can't just sample a sound canvas because, well, I mean, you can. If you're just going to use it for your own music, of course you can, but you can't distribute it because it's somebody else's. Anyway, I digress. Okay, everything's good? Okay, well, if anybody has any questions, now's the time. I'm done with the frequently asked questions, at least the ones that I could remember. So those are out of the way, and hopefully I spoke them in a format that will be conducive to cutting this up into shorts later, because everything has to be a way to make money and get clicks. So who's up? If I'm looking away, I'm looking at you. If I'm looking at you, I'm looking away. Okay, let's just keep that in mind. John of the Shred, congrats on 20K. Thank you very much. Soundfine Gatekeeper, come on. I'm just protecting my investment. No, I mean, I'm not at all. I don't intend to gatekeep at all. Like, I'm happy to answer any questions about this stuff or share any step of my process with anybody who wants to try doing the same thing. I love shorts. All right, hit me with some questions. I love that the chat is alive. So send me your questions. Hit me. I don't care what it is. If I really don't want to answer it, I won't answer it. But well, DVD, I respect the grind. Thank you. Not a question, but thank you. I'm just being silly. Hopefully the sound is okay. I'm like in a little. Yeah, I'm like in this corner. Have you heard GaiEngine in any games yet? I have not. Not in any games. I've heard a lot of GaiEngine from like indie composers on the internet and stuff. I've seen some really good. I've heard some really impressive music made with GaiEngine, or at least partially with GaiEngine, but I haven't specifically heard it in a game yet, except for the games that I used it for, which are, yeah, that doesn't count because it's my thing. Of course, I used my own thing. I hope that answers your question, John. Sorry, I didn't mean to just trail off there. Medihex. All right, question. I'm a newer sub. How long have you been at this YouTube game? So this is technically now my third YouTube channel. The first one I started in, I want to say like 2007 or 8. It didn't really go anywhere, but I was doing like mostly like Dragon Ball Z, US Dragon Ball Z remixes and covers. None of them are any good, but at the time, Dragon Ball Z, you know, it's such a phenomenon that anybody uploading anything about it on the internet got some notice. I was eventually completely locked out of that account, and it was taken down. Well, the channel is still there. You can look it up, but I no longer have access to it. And then my second YouTube channel made it to like 4,000 subs before I got bored of what I was doing there. And then I started this. So, I mean, I guess technically 2007 or 8. This particular channel, I think I technically made the channel like 10 years ago, but I didn't start doing anything on it until like 2 years ago. Let's see. We got to change that. Get those numbers up. Out of all your projects, which one is your favorite? Ugh, that's tough. That's going to be a two-parter. My favorite, I think, of all time is, I mean, this is a silly answer because there's no way to follow up on this, but my favorite project so far is the one that I'm working on right now. I can't say a lot about it yet, but I'm working on a game with some really talented developers. It's looking really good. Some of the best work that I've ever done is coming out with this game. Very excited about that. Things that are released. I did a soundtrack for a shoot 'em up called Z-Warp. And it's just a shoot 'em up. It's a pretty standard, like, arcade style shoot 'em up, you know, like arcade, like, but that soundtrack, for whatever reason, I just went so hard for no reason. The client was really cool. We had worked together a handful of times before he was really established. And by this point he was like established and came to me again after we had worked together before and was like, hey, I'm doing a game like this. You want to do a soundtrack? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to get another soundtrack writing gig. You know, I was like down on myself and stuff. And I was like, I'm just going to put everything I have into this soundtrack. And I did. And to this day, it's like every time I listen to it, I'm like, man, somewhere in me, I can do that. You know that feeling when you're really proud of something you've done? Yeah, that's part 2 of the answer. Hope that answers your question. What is your favorite sound font? Hold on, wait. Sorry, Izzy. Let me go back to Scruffington. Would you rather delete the PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 from existence? Ah, that hurts. That really hurts. I mean, the dependencies, like, there is no PlayStation 2 without PlayStation 1, but without PlayStation 2, I mean, PlayStation 2 has got to be, like, almost objectively the best game console of all time, right? I mean, and I'm saying that as somebody who doesn't have PS2 as his top choice. But I don't think that I would survive getting rid of the PS2. I would be very sad to lose the PS1, but I think I would somebody would end my life if I removed PS2. I think it's just too culturally significant. I don't know. It's tough to say. Everybody knows my love for the 5th generation, PS1 and Nintendo 64 and stuff. But like the PS2, there's just something, I mean, it's a big deal. I hope that's a good answer. Okay, from Izzy. What is your favorite sound font? And then your favorite sound font made by you so far? Okay, that's a good question. My favorite sound font not made by me. For years, I was using a sound font called Corium. That's definitely up there. I think by this point in time, everybody knows and loves SGM. But my actual favorite is probably... Oh, this is hard. This is hard to answer. This is really tough. Probably, I don't know. I'm trying to think of ones that are like ripped from games, because those are the ones, that's like where I got started with sound fonts, and that's like what led me here. Choosing a favorite is really tough. I mean, I could go the easy route and say like Donkey Kong Country. Everybody loves those sounds. I mean, they're amazing. I don't know, let me come back to this one. I'm going to stew on this one for a little bit, and then I'll come back to it. Soundchip Radio says, happy 20K. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, right. My favorite sound font made by me so far. Favorite sound font made by me so far. Probably the Bomberman 64 inspired one. Yeah. Probably that one. I know it's an odd choice, but I have such a like soft spot for Bomberman 64 that when I finally was like starting to get like find my rhythm when it comes to like sort of re-engineering samples from games, Bomberman 64 was one that I was like, oh, I want those sounds for me, and I want them in a way that is not going to be problematic to use. And so like once I had done that, I was like, this feels good. So it might not necessarily be about the sounds themselves, but more about my experience making it, that makes it my favorite. Let's see. Seriously, can't wait to see more. Thank you. Best way to go, make every song a test to push yourself. Yeah, for sure. Can't be super vanilla and be like, I'm an Earthbound Andy. I'm not, honestly. I mean, like, I do love and, of course, respect Earthbound and its music and stuff, but it's definitely not my favorite. Nurture, is it Tanime or Tanim? Or Tanaim? Would you like to make an ambient track together? Maybe. Send me your stuff and I'll see if we can jive. You can find me on Discord. DMs are open. LOL, that guy 123. Hey, love your stuff. Your last video was an eye-opener. Always thought Uematsu used an SE88. He did. He definitely used an SC88 Pro for a while, and then he switched to an SC8820. It's possible that he switched to the 8820 specifically because of how portable it was, and by that point he probably had a laptop and he was able to work on the go. Whereas the 88 and the 88 Pro are like, they're a little bigger and kind of heavy. But it doesn't seem like he had it for very long, because he used it on Final Fantasy IX and Final Fantasy X, and then he gave it away. Dead Noises, hi SFG, congrats on 20k subs. Thank you, and thank you for coming. Yeah. Izzy says, Mother 3 is better any hoot. Sure, if you say so. It was the first one that you said that was my name. Nurture Tanime. That was the first one I said, right? I think so. All right, hit me with some more questions. Dead Noises question, have you ever performed live? Yes, I have. I haven't performed live in a long time, but in my 20s, one of my side hustles was playing piano at restaurants. And you guessed it, I was mostly playing piano renditions of game songs at the time and at that place. Nobody knew. They were just like, wow, this kid is good. I wasn't actually that good. I just liked it enough. And I've played in some bands and stuff. I was in a reggae band for some time. A reggae cover band. Yeah, I've been in like rock band. I've been in like electronic groups, techno stuff. I even I did some theater as a kid, but we don't need to get into that. Do you have any questions for us, the audience? Oh, don't pull that. Don't try to turn it around on me. I mean, sure. Yeah, here's a question. What would you like to see from Soundfont Guy in 2026? Medihex says, Y2K era. How I miss you. You were a much more fun and creative vision of the future than what we have now. Fruitager Arrow, too. Well, I mean, I won't argue with that. I definitely think that there's some doomer in that. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's easy to think of the future as full of possibilities when you're a kid, right? I think you think of what we thought the future was going to be was a lot brighter because we were kids, You get jaded by the real world. But I don't think that the future that we got is really anything that we would have expected at the Fruitager Arrow times, Everything just kind of is what it is. But it was a great time for games and for technology, I think. And I don't know. I think that maybe I'm naive, but I think that there's still a lot of good ahead of us. In ways that maybe we aren't aware of. Anyway, I'm getting on a soapbox here. Let's see. Question, Y2K or Fruitager Arrow, who wins? Oh, congrats on 20k subs. Thank you, Dems Creates. Fruitager Arrow or Y2K? It's like, who wins, Mario or Jumpman? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of overlap there, right? I mean, they're similar. I feel like Fruitager Arrow is a little bit more dreamy, where Y2K kind of has like an edge, right? Y2K is like, it's Y2K! Whereas Fruitager Arrow is like, please come in. That's not a real answer, and I'm sorry that I don't know if I can choose between them, because I kind of love them both. Let's see. I just want to thank you for making the Guy Engine products. I wanted to make music with the sounds of the games from my childhood, but tracking actual synths down is expensive, and Roland keeps discontinuing their cloud stuff. Yeah, I hear you on that. Yeah, the whole idea of Guy Engine is pretty much that. Like, it's like an affordable. It's meant to be an affordable alternative to all of the many items and steps and dollars involved with truly having the tools from back then. Izzy says, SFG, you should make a vocal sample or sample sound effect or Foley pack. Could be cool. Yeah, I mean, well, technically the Silent Guy packs, I'm pretty sure all three of them have some Foley in them. And I do a lot of Foley work right here. So yeah, I have a lot of random objects and a shotgun mic, and yeah. Dead Noises, laughing my ass off. Okay, not the theater. That's a bunch of bands too. I could smell a bit of nostalgia there. Yeah. I did a lot of like, truly though, like I'm not a performer at heart. Like I like to write the music, and then somebody much more skilled at performing than I can take the reins on the performing part. I like to write. I like to, get in my own little world and sort of like piece together the thing, and then. But I don't like to necessarily like be in front of a crowd and trying to perform the thing, because I can never perform the thing the way that I dream that it sounds, And there are many performers who can perform the thing in alignment with my vision of it, if that makes sense. There are people who are, born performers, or like highly trained or highly skilled, or just, that's just their thing. And performing is less my thing. I definitely like to write more. All right, sorry, catching up. John of the Thread, John of the Shred, not of the Thread, but you are in the thread. I had Rolling Cloud for years. Once I got a JV 1080, I ditched it. Winds up being a major ripoff. I can't really comment on that. I understand the frustration that people have with cloud-based stuff and subscription-based things. I do love my JV 1080. It's sitting right there. You can't see it, but it is right there, I promise. Here's a question. If you had to make a small score for an indie game and you could only pick one sound font from the 90s, 2000s games, from one 90s, 2000s game, what one would that game be? Twilight Princess. It's got everything from like ambient pads to orchestral sounds to, your like chill nylon guitars and bongos. It's got, did I say ambient pads? I love an ambient pad. Ambient pads, solo acoustic instruments, really good orchestral stuff. And assuming that I can use effects and stuff, like the possibilities are endless. It's huge. Either that, or if I'm going full orchestral, I would choose Final Fantasy XII. When are you turning Guy Engine? Scruffington asks, when are you turning Guy Engine into a subscription-based cloud service? Also, can you work some microtransactions in there somehow? No to both. Not happening. Guy Engine will always be a one-time purchase deal. I'm not, and I know that this is a joke question, but just to put it out there, like I don't want to do that kind of stuff. Like, okay, so here's the thing. Of course, like I want to make money, but I don't want to make money at the expense of accessibility, because I've said this a million times, but sound fonts are like, the vast majority of the history of sound fonts is that they have been free, and I'm like piggybacking off of that free thing. People associate the word sound font with free stuff, and my name is Sound Font Guy. So I feel like, yes, I want to make some money, but if I cut out the accessibility part, then I'm kind of spitting in the face of the philosophy that made me. Does that make sense? Which is why I also I still am on top of I still release free stuff. I still give stuff away too. It's also nice to make a buck. But never that I think I've said enough. Not to be a doomer, I am trying my darndest, partner. I'm actually venting my feelings into my own work. I'm leading a game project right now, and we're going to make old-looking Y2KS games genuine. Nice, yeah. I didn't mean to say that you were being a doomer. I just mean that there's I think that it's easy to like be a doomer right now. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to have doomer takes with the way, you know, things can be these days. And I think that it's a worthy endeavor to like try not to. And I was more talking about that as a concept rather than calling you out personally. But Y2K inspired games, count me in. I'm there. Oh yeah, how about those Foley sounds in Silent Guy? Fun to pitch them up and down. Yeah, some of those were created by a bunch of them came from Kang, who isn't here right now, but he's a member of the Discord server. Yeah, great musician, great sound designer. And Moximog, who I think is in chat right now, or maybe has gone to bed. But Moximog made a bunch of great sounds for Silent Guy as well. Okay, I love the SNES Shadowrun sounds. Yeah, great sounds. Dead Noises says, I get that. Those times I perform live, I always end up a little disappointed. I do this thing where I just stand there playing, not really move, really concentrated on the notes. I feel like a mannequin. Me too. That's me too. I feel like I'm so like, ugh, I can't mess this up. I can't mess this up, you know? And I just like, I'm definitely not a front man. I have a really hard time being in front of a crowd as it is, but like some people get up there and they're like, you know, yeah. What process or creative flow, Nurture Tanime asks, that motivates you to that creative dream process? That's a good question. The creative process is hard for me. My creative process is hard for me to kind of nail down because it really varies. Sometimes I will hear a piece of music that's like, ooh, that's really cool. I want to see if I can write something that's cool in a similar way. And maybe I get into a groove, maybe I don't. Other times I just hear a sound that I like. I heard these wind chimes the other day and I was like, ooh, I bet I could make something with that. Other times it's imagery, you know? My creative process is almost always like, have an idea for a thing, you know, record a voice note or like literally type a note like, it sounds like this chord goes in that direction and then it goes really quiet and then it gets much louder, you know? I think my boring generic answer about the creative process is like, for me, it's really nebulous. It's really hard for me to grab a hold of and just kind of be in a creative process. A lot of creativity for me is like, I'm working at something and not feeling creative until I accidentally feel creative. Let's see. Twilight Princess, nice pick. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it's a really good one. Really broad range. I think the only thing about the sound of the actual Twilight Princess soundtrack that I would not want to have is the fact that there's like little to no reverb in the music. I gotta have reverb, especially on my string ensembles. Maybe I'm in the wrong band and on the wrong instrument. I mean, experiment. If you could hang out with one famous composer for one day, who would it be? That's tough. That's tough. I mean, I don't speak Japanese, so choosing a Japanese composer might be out. Unless we're just imagining that there's a translator or something, or an interpreter. I almost want to say Uematsu, but at the same time, I feel like that's... I think I would choose, if I could speak Japanese or if I could be sure that I would be able to communicate in some way, I think I would choose Motoi Sakuraba. I feel like there's something in his music that feels very, very unpretentious. I'm making some wild speculations here about his personality, but I feel like his music signals to me that he's a down-to-earth guy. Like just kind of a real person, you know? Uematsu kind of has a little bit of that star energy. Okay. Maniac says, me neither with my stuff. I do want to make money, but I don't want to be capitalistic and greedy about it. Yeah, I respect that. I mean, we all got to make a living, so I think it's okay to like sell what you make, but I think that there's a difference between like, you know, between like selling a thing that you make and, I don't know, extorting people or like, you know what I'm saying. We're already in agreement. Dems Creates says, I paid for your product because of the accessibility and the neat UI and built-in effects. I'd rather pay you than a cloud-based service that might go down. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, the fun thing about the UI is that I am very obviously not a UI UX designer, at least not in the visual sense. So the backgrounds at this point, they were all done by Irian, who is an artist and member of my Discord server. And all of the backgrounds were done by her. The rest of the stuff, all of the stuff that's just like bubble windows and knobs, those were me, but they're very like, they're kind of bare bones. I feel like it gets better over time. Like every time I release an update, I think I make some improvements incrementally, but I still would like for it to look a little bit more professional and a little less amateur. Silent Guy Foley was really fun to work on. I made a bunch of gross, yucky sounds. Yes, you did. Scruffington says, I absolutely love the Foley in Silent Guy. If you were tapped to design a new hardware rompler for sale in 2026, what would you want to see? Oh, man. This is a great question because my dream, currently one of my dreams, is a hardware guy engine. I might even call it like Guy Station, Engine Station. No, I don't know. Well, I would love something like the okay, so imagine it's the XV5080, right? Something like that. You could do with or without a keyboard attached. I'm not that specific about that. I think a rack mounted one would be fun. But I also think that like an 88 key version would be really cool. But imagine it's a Rompler with a bunch of timbres, and all of the timbres, you can choose you can set the sample rate to literally whatever you want. Lots of effects, all kinds of effects. You can change the chain, the chain of the effects. You can change the sends. You can control all that kind of stuff. You can, like I said, we're talking tons of samples, lots and lots of samples. I would love that. Samples of all kinds, even crazy dumb stuff. The ability to load your own custom samples into it via micro SD or something. It would be like semi-open source, maybe something that like people could share their own sounds, and they could pop their sound. You could like download somebody's sounds, pop it into the SD card, and use them. Yeah, selectable sample rate is huge, along with selectable interpolation type. I think it would be really cool to have audio emulation of like lots of different game engines. You probably couldn't call them what they are. Like you couldn't say PS1, but I don't know. You might be able to say SPU. I don't know. But it would be really cool to have like a processor, like a software processor that like changes the way that, the texture of the sound based on the hardware that you want to sound like. You could even choose romplers. You could be like, I want it to sound like an SC55, and then you get like a really bright, crunchy sound. Anyway, moving on. Let's see. What's your opinion on trackers? Have you used them? I've used them a little bit. I'm not very good with them. I don't have an easy flow with them because I don't know Hex super well, or at least it's not to say that I don't know Hex. I'm not like fluent in Hex. I can't look at a hex and know what it is, like a hexadecimal number and know what it translates to. But I love trackers. I mean, trackers are responsible for some of the best music out there, video game music in particular. Let's see. You mentioned you love the SGM sound font. Did you hear of the SGM Pro sound font made by the same guy? If not, just leave it here as a recommendation. No, this is the first I'm hearing of it, and somebody write that down for me. Just go into the sound font. If you're in the Discord server, please help me by going to the sound font channel in the Discord server, tagging me, and saying SGM Pro so that I remember. Thank you. Mine would be Norio Hanzawa, composer of stuff like Stretch Panic and Wario World soundtracks, among other treasure stuff. Norio Hanzawa is amazing. I'm not going to get into a tirade about Norio Hanzawa right now, but yeah. I don't know if have I talked about Norio Hanzawa before on the channel? I don't think I have. Have I? Well, anyway. Isn't Norio Hanzawa the one that made music for Gunstar Heroes and Alien Soldier? I love those games and his soundtracks. I think so. I mean, if I'm thinking of the right person, then yes. I might have my names mixed up. If you don't mind me asking, what is the origin of your logo/mascot character? Does the character have an origin story? So he doesn't have an origin story, and his unofficial name is The Little Guy. But the idea behind the design is that he's inspired by the Shy Guy from like the Mario universe and Reaverbots from Mega Man Legends. As you can tell, I am a huge fan of Mega Man Legends. If you look at the background, where is it? Right there. See that background? Very Mega Man Legends. And this is my low poly little guy, right? This is my little guy, low poly guy. Yeah. Let's see. Would you make it a rack synth or would it have keys? Both, either one. I prefer rack personally, but like an 88 key version would be really cool too. Dead Noises says, Guy Engine has so far the best sound font manipulation, and that's what I love. I'd love to see you expand more on that. MPE is really hot right now, though I'm not sure yet how to use it. Thank you for the compliment. I'm a Mega Man X snob, so I'd love a Mega Man X expansion. I'd totally not buy that immediately. Guy Palette has a bunch of Mega Man X stuff in it. It doesn't have like a full Mega Man X library, but it has some of the PS1 era Mega Man X sounds. Not from it, not literally from the game, you know what I mean, inspired. PlayStation. Oh man, hold on, I'm catching up. Of course you don't know me, I'm new around here. Had to make the joke. MGM sound font. No, Izzy, no. No, I haven't heard you talk about him. How dare you? I don't think you've talked about Norio Hanzawa in the channel. Would love it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to put that on my list. Let's see. Brimstone6533. When you are making a VGM song and you reach a point you're happy with, but it's missing something to fill it up, make it sound a bit more full, what would you do first to try and fill the track? Okay, really non-musical answer. I will look at a spectrum analyzer and see where there's space. And then I'll start messing around with what I think might fit in that space. But that's a boring answer. Sometimes I will just listen to where it sounds like something might fit. It might be a panning thing. Other times making something sound more full can just be a question of where things are sitting. Panning something a little more or a little less. Like the harder you pan something, the more empty it's going to feel in the middle. Not that I'm trying to give basic mixing lessons here. I'm just saying, like, if you have stuff hard panned, then the center sounds emptier. So like sometimes just being a little bit more gentle with some of the existing settings, or maybe being more extreme with something depending on what it calls for. Let's see. Underrated SNES game with a killer soundtrack is Tin Star. Ever play that one? It's like a spaghetti western, but with robots. I don't think I have played that, but I will look into it. Can somebody in the Discord go into the gaming channel, the gaming chat channel, and tag me and say Tin Star so that I remember? Thanks. SFG, the way you talk is awesome. What do you have on the list? What list? Did I mention a list? Sorry, it's taking me so long to get through chat that by the time I get to a follow-up question, I'm lost. Excuse me, I'm going to get a little sip of this water. Who's that? Who's that? Huh. Epsidon says, have you visited Japan before? Any plans to buy some equipment there for future projects? I've never been to Japan. Not yet anyway. My hope is that after the work that I did with Roland, who is actually based in Japan, that maybe one day they'll ask me to work with them again, and I will travel to Japan to work with them in a more direct capacity. That's a dream, though. I don't anticipate that will happen, but I would love to see Japan. Like, obviously, so many parts of Japanese culture have influenced me as a musician, as a creator. Let's see. Dems Create says, I've only known you as the SFG. Do you have any work I can check out, like a game or an album? Sorry, I'm very new. Yeah, so the artist name that I use pretty often is Elezid. It's Elezeid. It's a word that I made up. If you Google that word ever, I'm going to type it right now. Sorry, it's showing up late because of the latency. But if you type that word, pretty much anything that you find is going to be me because I made it up. And that includes cringe posts on forums from like 2005. But as for like, you said a game or an album. So I gave you my artist name, which is neither of those. I released an album, excuse me, I'm so gurgly. I released an album in 2021 alongside a few other, like featuring a few of my composer friends, called 2021 XX, which is a Mega Man X inspired album that really didn't get much attention. Nobody knew who I was. Nobody cared. That's kind of the truth about being a game composer for a living, is that you kind of think, you go into it thinking that people are going to be like, you sort of hope that people will have the same reverence for your work that you have for the game composers that inspired you. But it's mostly like, I mean, 2/3 of all the jobs that I've ever taken have been for games that were never released. Sorry, I digress. But yeah, games that I've worked on that I'm really proud of. Geez, I'm having a whole brain fart here. I mentioned Z-Warp, a shoot 'em up. That's some of my favorite work that I've done. But yeah. Let's see. Dead Noises says, okay, I got one. Have you ever left a mug of tea sitting for long enough for it to grow mold? Yeah. Yes, I have. I drink a lot of tea. I don't usually leave it sitting, though. I mean, yeah, it's not here. Oh, no. Have we really gone through this whole stream so far without the mood light? I should be fired. Let's see. Also, your taste in video game music is excellent. Oh, thank you. Stretch Panic had such a profound influence on me, despite it being such a small game. It's just so interesting. Inspired my creative pursuits so much. I mean, it's funny how that happens, right? Like, Mischief Makers did that for me. Mischief Makers is one of my favorite games of all time, despite it being kind of weird and for some people not particularly fun to play. I love it, of course, but yeah, just a weird gem of a game, very quirky, and the music had an impact on me for whatever reason. Ben Starr got it. Sinistar confirmed. No, guys. Little guy sticker on the bottle. Yeah, I got lots of little guy stickers actually. I've got hold on, let me show you. I got stacks of them in this little Ziploc. See, look. Bunch of them here. And then some more here. These ones are laminated. Anyway. I can heavily recommend going to... Whoa, hold on. Sorry, the chat just updated and here we go. Okay, Epsidon says, I can heavily recommend going to Osaka to purchase some cheap retro games, at least if you're a retro hunter. Yeah, for sure. Yahoo Auctions is great too. Yahoo Auctions Japan. The next piece of gear that I want to buy, somebody asked this and I hadn't responded, sorry. The next piece of gear that I want to buy and hopefully do a video about, at the moment I'm not sure. There are several that I want, but I don't want to spoil it because I don't actually physically have them yet. But let's just say I'm ready to start talking about some products that are maybe not Roland. Anyway. Brimstone6533, you made a couple of how to make a sample sound like it's on the original console, like the PS1 and N64. Any more consoles you have in mind? I love those videos. Thank you for saying that. Those are some of my favorite videos that I've done, despite them not getting nearly as much attention as the Sound Canvas stuff. Yeah, I want to do one for Dreamcast, and I want to do one for Sega Saturn. Those are two that I already know how to do, so I definitely want to do a tutorial on those. Let's see, there are more. PS2 is a good one. The PS2 is really easy to do though. So I don't know if it would be a pretty short video. If you know how to do the PS1 stuff, you can do the PS2 stuff and it'll be even easier. Anyway, let's see. Japanese composition has something special to it. The orchestration has this extra layer of jazz missing in mainstream Western music. Love listening to X-Japan and Yoshiki's classical versions of them. That's a really good point. I do think that there's an extra layer of like, I don't know. I think a lot of like, if you think of like Western film scores, they all sound very like, now don't get me wrong, I'm not dogging on Western film scores because I love them. There are a lot of Western film scores that I really love, and I think the majority of them are amazing, and this isn't a dig at the quality. It's just, I'm just saying that they can sound very safe, right? Like, Western compositions can sound very safe. Even the more experimental ones are kind of like, you know, nobody's bending any rules, really. Not that nobody is, but it's rare. Whereas, like, Japanese compositions, even of a similar genre, can sort of feel like they're bending your understanding of music or your preconceptions. Yeah, which is a really long way of saying jazzy, right? That's pretty much what jazz is. Ellen C. No, Izzy, no. There's so many developers now, so it's easy to get lost in the mix. That's true, yeah. How many levels of Kaioken would it take regular Goku to defeat Perfect Cell? Okay, what is the to defeat Perfect Cell? Okay, so wait, Kaioken Super Saiyan is times 100, right? So okay, wait. I'm going off of math that I don't know is true, but Super Saiyan is 100 times normal strength, I believe. Goku was about half, I think, half of Perfect Cell's power level when they fought at the Cell games. So he would have to do Kaioken times 100 just to match what he was in Super Saiyan. I assume that, so yeah, he would have to be at least times 200 to match Perfect Cell. But Super Perfect Cell, post explosion, I'm gonna say even higher, even further beyond. Oh God, am I still making that joke? Am I still making that joke in 2026? Like, One of the first videos that I ever made on YouTube was a cover of the Super Saiyan 3 theme with the dialogue still playing. And I have not been able to escape it, despite the fact that it only has like 100K views in 20 years. But still. Anyway, enjoy your Q&A. Hey, Selena. I guess you're just popping in to say hello. But hey, Selena, welcome. Always happy to see Selena. I've been wondering what that little box was. Oh yeah, it's a lamp. It's a light. It's bamboo and rice paper, and it's like Zelda. Show you. Bunch of Zelda stuff. We have a tradition. My sister and I have a tradition where every year for Christmas, she gets me something Zelda related. Sorry, dead air. Even if I'll never take off as a musician, I still want to compose game music anyways, since I just have this urge in me to always create. That's good. That urge is better. It's a better motivator than money or anything else, like fame, notoriety. Like, please create just for the joy of creation. Please, please. I recognize how very fortunate and lucky I am that I get to do this for a living. I am not discounting that at all. However, I do want to point out that you lose something. You lose a little something when it becomes a job. It's exciting at first, and then it just becomes work. And don't get me wrong, it's not that it's just work, but there's this little tiny little thing, this little piece of magic that's there when you're just doing it to do it, that disappears when it becomes your job. Doesn't disappear entirely. It makes its way back in when you work on something you're really passionate about. But in my experience as a composer for hire, the vast majority of the work that I have done has been just work, has been just applying a skill that I have developed over years. It is not often that I get excited about a game that I'm working on. Let's see. John of the Shred says, it's interesting to see indie dev evolving though. Like it had a SNES Sega type era, then the PSX horror boom. It's like watching the AAA trajectory on an indie scale. Yeah, and it's great. I personally love that because the best thing about indie is that we are taking all of the things that work from every generation of gaming, and we are combining it and repurposing it. And yeah. What are your desert island plugins? Ones that are absolutely crucial. Desert island plugins. I mean, I'm going to be so dumb right now and say Gyengine. Like, I'm not just shilling my own product here, but like, I literally made Gyengine because it was the thing that I wanted. I was like, I wish that I just had a tool that could do this. And so I made it. So it would be Gyengine V2. That's one. What are some other good ones that I like? No, that would be cheating. I was gonna say East West Opus because it's because it's like millions of things in one. I don't know. I mean, let's say like maybe like a nice reverb plugin. I don't know. I feel like Gyengine V2 with all of its expansions would be more than enough for me right now. On a desert island? I don't know. Maybe some... I've got these 8Dio intimate studio strings that I really like. It's a Kontakt library, but I don't know. I really like the way they sound. They just feel so intimate, I guess. So maybe if I wanted to write something sweet and a little bit more realistic, I don't know. Question. Sorry. Question: what kind of sound font was used for the PS2 game Evergrace? That soundtrack fascinates me like no other. Good question. I don't know off the top of my head. I could probably listen to it and tell you at least where some of it comes from. Little guys, listening to this while playing RE is so funny. I started playing RE last night. I played like the first 20 minutes of it, and I was like tired from a long day, and I found myself like feeling overwhelmed. I love horror, I truly do, but for some reason, like, I'm very easily scared. So being at like the end of my daily battery and then playing something scary and being easily scared, I'm like, no, I can't, I can't right now. Let's see. Does the PS2 have any type of... Oh, no, wait. What is your favorite Joe? Sorry, I'm like losing track of where we are. The old Hollywood sound was beautiful. Nowadays, it's a bit drony and, yes, safe. Like they're afraid to take control of attention. It used to be the opposite, really big melodic hooks and stuff. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about like media music in general. It's like AAA games, their music has become a little bit less melodic. So I want to go on record as saying I do not think that video game music or film music is getting worse. I think that it is changing, and I think that it has moved away from melody a little bit. It seems to be more focused on sensation, which isn't a bad thing. It's just different. It's different, and sometimes you miss the thing that it used to be, right? Excuse me. What is your favorite Joe Hisaishi soundtrack, and why is it Princess Mononoke? I mean, you nailed the answer, because it's the best. Princess Mononoke is just amazing. The story is like, Princess Mononoke kind of stands apart from the other films, right? There's just something about it that's different. Can't quite put a finger on it. It just feels like something about it is more visceral and real and like, I don't know. I love the whimsy of the other films, but there's just something about that, like something about the gut punch, right? And it's in the music. Does the PS2 have any type of compression or artifacts from the sound chip? I thought not, considering there's full bands on Guitar Hero, Need for Speed OST, FIFA, you get the point. LMAO. Okay, so streamed music, I mean, it's just streamed music from a DVD especially, or like, you know, Redbook and stuff. You're not really going to hear any artifacts for the most part. However, sound chip stuff, like a lot of Final Fantasy X soundtrack, or maybe most of it is sound chip. The PS2 uses an evolved version of the PS1 sound chip, the SPU. It's called the SPU2, and it's literally basically just two PS1 sound chips glued together. It has 2 megabytes of audio RAM as compared to the PS1's 512 kilobytes. So you can do a lot more with it than you could the PS1. More than twice, despite it being 2. And it's capable of playback up to 48 kilohertz. The reverb algorithms are functionally, are mathematically the same, but are resampled to anywhere from 22 to 48 kilohertz, depending on the settings determined by the game itself. It's actually the programming of the game that determines the reverb settings. But yeah, so lots of games still used compressed samples because they save space, even if they didn't necessarily need to because DVD was so big. But if you have like full voice acting in a game, it makes sense to compress your music, right? I could go on and on about sound chips, please. But yeah, there are compression artifacts. The types of samples that were used were the same 4-bit 80 PCM that were used on the PS1. The exact same type of samples. The only major difference is that they were upsampled to 48 kilohertz rather than 44.1, and you could use a lot more of them. Okay. Sorry, I'm having such a hard time keeping up because I'm so long-winded. Yo, I can stand Resident Evil scary, but I've tried playing Amnesia the Bunker, and no. Yeah, Amnesia's a no for me. Seconding this about Evergrace, very much worth listening to. Okay, can somebody go into the Discord server and go to the music talk or sound font? I don't know. Say Evergrace and tag me. If you would, please. It's not a command, it's a request. Now. So let's see. If you have to pick a PS3 game for beautiful ambient escape music, what is one that you will pick? Ugh. Okay. I'm gonna show my true colors here. Not a big Final Fantasy 13 fan. I've tried so many times, but that soundtrack is so good. There's some really, really good ambient stuff in there. And if I'm not mistaken, Silent Hill Homecoming? Silent Hill Homecoming, bad game, great music. I mean, that game's music gets overlooked because of how bad the game is. Is that PS3? Not Downpour. Don't mess with Downpour. They got a Hollywood composer for it. But Akira Yamaoka was on Silent Hill Homecoming, and his music is as good as ever in that one, if you're looking for ambient stuff. Licensed songs. I license songs into TV, and anytime I get too musical, they tell me to tone it down. Yep, I get that. Totally get that. I've scored some TV stuff, and I mean, it's different with scoring, right? Like, scoring and licensing is not the same. But even with scoring, like, it's like I'm at the point where like the entire 7 minutes of this episode is like one note droning and then a second note droning, and they're like, a little too complicated. Can you simplify it? And like, no, dude. You could have done this yourself, but that's okay. Hire me and I'll do one note per episode. Sorry, I'm just being silly. I'm exaggerating for effect. It's not that bad, but what I'm saying is that I can kind of relate to what you're saying, John. The anti that guy Biss. I don't know what you're saying anymore. You've lost me. Delina says, exactly, stuff is changing. That's all I feel. It might not be one's cup of tea as much as the old stuff, but it's still valid, right? Yes, agreed completely. Still very valid. Like, I get so emotional listening to like moments from, like The Last of Us. Actually, The Last of Us is pretty melodic, isn't it? Oh, you know what's a good one? The Walking Dead, the Telltale series. There's not a lot of strong melody in that, but like some of those tracks hit. Those cues, they really hit. They like get you in the feels. And some of that is really good storytelling, right? By the way, speaking of spooky, Fatal Frame. Do you know the series? I know the series. And if you do, which one is the scariest? First one's got to be it for me. The first one's got to be it for me. Something about it. The stiff camera movements in first person. Yeah, for sure. The stiff camera movements, you feel trapped. You feel trapped already in how stiff that game is. And then like something jumps out at you, and there's just I can't just turn around and run away from it. You know what I mean? I have to be like, oh no. A ghost. The freaky ghost designs. That first game has the best designs in the series. I would agree with that. Try Siren. First Fatal Frame is amazing. Subsequent titles just didn't quite hit as hard. I would agree with that. I still liked them. I still enjoyed them. But the first one, they just they knew what they wanted to do and they did it. Let's see. What's your favorite sound chip, reverb / echo? I'm going to be boring and I'm going to say PlayStation, because there's just something special about the way that it sounds. It's so early. It's such an early reverb sound, right? Like the SNES, you get like a stereo delay effect, which is close to reverb and can feel like it. And then like when you get to Dreamcast, the Dreamcast reverb is much smoother. There are more taps. so it feels cleaner for obvious reasons. Even the Sega Saturn reverb is pretty unique, and it's kind of tinny, but like the PS1's reverb is such an early digital reverb that has a really unmistakable sound to it. And the fact that the reverb on the PS1 is only 22 kilohertz means that even for as tinny as it is, it still could be tinnier because we lose some information in the high end by it being at a low sample rate. Anyway, that's really interesting on the PS2 sound chip. Thank you for that. Now I'm really interested if you ever make the video. Thank you for sparing the PS2 from existence before. My pleasure. Pepper Face. Now, Izzy. John says, I know that feeling. Directors who have temp music get married to that sound. Yeah, they do. It's insane. And so I actually had I had an argument with a director one time on a film because he was using temp music from another film and he wanted me to basically copy it one for one. And I got as close as I could possibly get to his temp music without infringing copyright. And he was like, it just doesn't sound like, I just feel like this note should be here and that note should be there. And I was like, that's stealing. And he's like, it's not stealing, it's your interpretation. I'm like, I'm not allowed to interpret somebody else's music without their permission in a film. I can't do that. And we really butted heads on it. It was kind of it was unfortunate. It was unfortunate. They really do get married to that stuff. Can you make this song but not this song so I don't get sued? Yeah. One note per episode. How many octaves can we cover? It's gonna have to be a mini series. We need a silly guy counter for this stream. Gotta run. Thanks for the stream. Bye, Scruff. Thanks for coming. Sorry it took me 6 years to respond to that. Sony being involved in more musical aspects in their products, they definitely added some sauce there other brands didn't have experience with. Yes, absolutely. There's a rope. Yeah. Ooh, okay, I think I'm caught up on the questions. Does anybody have any further questions? Because I might call it there. An hour's worth of me yapping has really taken a toll on the old vocal cords here. And I'm getting hungry. But yeah, 20,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I mean, your support has really like made a literal difference in my life, in the way that I am able to operate. So thank you very much for that. I hope Omnisphere is not on your desert island. You know, here's the thing about Omnisphere. I might choose Omnisphere as a desert island plugin specifically because, and only because, it contains so many of the samples from the Spectrasonics, like Distorted Reality and those old 90s sample CDs, and is currently one of the only legal ways to get a hold of those sounds. So maybe I would choose it. But I'm not paying that much. If it's going to be a gift, then I'll do it. But like $1 billion for a plugin, I'm sorry, not worth it. Congrats on 20K. Thank you all very much. Did anyone ask what his favorite game is yet? Tough question. I've got a few. I've got several. Final Fantasy IX is one of them. Brave Fencer Musashi is another one. Bomberman 64, Mischief Makers, Shadow the Colossus. I've got a handful for every platform. I don't know that I have like a favorite. If I'm in a PS1 mood, then probably one of the games I mentioned. I mean, Musashi's so much fun. That game's so much fun. You just turn it on and you start playing, you know? It's not a lot of investment. Final Fantasy IX, one of my favorite games of all time. A really excellent JRPG. I don't know. I'm not gonna. It's a hard question for me to answer with just one game because there are so many that I love. Sonic Adventure 2, love those games. I could play Sonic Adventure 2 all day. You put in Sonic Adventure 2, in fact, put in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and we can play all day together. Just saying. Glad to be here. Your channel is exactly my kind of thing. 20K sounds so unreal. It does feel unreal. Yeah, thank you, Medihex. Thank you for being here, and thanks for the kind words and for the questions. It's been a good stream. I'm surprised I didn't join the Discord yet. Yeah, please do. Appreciate your vids. Really informative on why and how these retro systems operated and achieved their sound as a newer sub. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sonic Adventure 2 is a banger. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I'm going to give it maybe 2 more full minutes. Maybe 1 more full minute for questions to come in if there are any more. And then I will say something in the chat, which will be the cutoff. And then I'll be answering the last questions and then saying see you later. Recently reaching 1K myself feels unreal, to be honest. Yeah, Selena, you're killing it though. And it's even harder. It's even harder to build a following as just a musician. So 1K in musician terms feels the same as 20K in YouTuber. You know what I mean? You know that those people are there for the thing that you're creating. You know, I mean, people come to my channel because maybe they like me, but they also like the things that they already liked before I started, right? Congrats for 20K. Your videos are super cool. Thank you, ATB Enjoyer. I also enjoy ATB. Although I will say, when it comes to Final Fantasy IX, they really could have done better with that. That game just takes so long. I don't like how it queues up what I'm doing. Don't queue it up. Just do it. If I choose attack, I want to see the attack happen. Because how am I supposed to prepare for what's coming next if I have to wait to see what happens? You know? Anyway. Can you believe there was era where we thought Adventure 2 didn't age well? Oh, maybe it didn't. I mean, it might not have aged well. It's a little janky at times, but I love it. Before I go, what's your favorite emo band from the 2010s? Okay, so I used to listen to this band a lot. I used to go to their shows. They were called Burden of a Day. Check them out. Burden of a Day. You might not necessarily think of them as emo. I listened to a little bit more hardcore back in the 2000s, 2010s rather. I was a big Ymir fan for a while. Maybe not a big fan, but I was a fan. The Acacia Strain. I don't know if anybody here listens to hardcore now, but yeah, there's a band called Jesus Peace, and I went to high school with the front man. He's a very cool guy and very talented. Excuse me. Let's see. I want to love FF9, but the limit break system broke me. See, I like the limit break system. I like the trance. What I don't like is how it's random. Trance just happens when it wants to happen. There's a mod for the Steam version that makes trance triggerable once you've built up enough, and then you can use it when you want. I modded FF9 to make ATB bar go faster. There's a mod for FF9 that switches the battle type even on ATB to instant rather than queuing and waiting. Excuse me. What do you think about the Roland Integra boxes GE stuff? Roland Integra boxes GE stuff. What is GE? You can't be talking about Guy Engine. Roland Integra doesn't have Guy Engine stuff. Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding the question. Isn't the Integra a piece of hardware? HXC. It's so funny to see people talking about that in 2026. Oh, also, going into like the pop punk era, I was one of those annoying basic people that listened to A Day to Remember. Yep. I've got this really cringe picture of myself from like 2009 where like my hair, which is naturally curly, was straightened. I flat ironed it so that I could look more emo. Yeah. All right. So last call. Oops. Spelled last wrong. General MIDI stuff. Oh yeah. The Roland Integra's GM stuff is standard Roland stuff. Roland has been using the same sample pool since the 90s. So if you get a newer Roland thing that has GM on it, you're getting the same samples. The only thing that's different is the software that's playing it. So if you have an Integra, you're using, I mean, a lot of those sounds are on Sound Canvas. So if you want something newer, if you have an Integra or if you have like a performance board or something, you've got Sound Canvas, JV, you got a bunch of those sounds in there already. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it there. We've listened to my playlist of only original music that I wrote, by the way. Yeah, Roland has gotten a lot of use out of those samples. Well, anyway, I'm going to switch the screen over to the now loading screen and let you listen to another few seconds of my music. And then I'm going to be out of here. Thank you so much for 20K subs. Here's to a lot more. Hopefully my next video doesn't get demonetized. I'm going to have to work on strategizing around that. But yeah, it is what it is. Thank you all for coming to the stream. Thank you for the great questions. It's been really fun. I might have to do another one of these just for fun sometime. Oh, I will be streaming again soon. Now that I'm moved into my new place and I have my studio set up, I'm going to be streaming. I'm going to go back to streaming Ape Escape as soon as possible, hopefully this week. So Ape Escape on real hardware, real PS1 with a CRT. Anyway, thanks again, everyone. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday or your Sunday, depending on where you are in the world. Bye.